I knew that it was over when I was in Mexico because he told me not to talk to him. He told me not to talk to him while I was on the trip with him. And I'm like, wow, like I'm really on this vacation with my husband in Mexico, the most beautiful place ever, and I can't talk to my husband. That means that there's no intimacy going on. That means ain't no touching, no hugging, no anything. This man put a pillow in between us. And at that point, I knew I deserved better. I knew that I gave him so many chances, more chances than what he needed, more chances more chances that I had given anyone else. I knew that I had let him slide, even though the first week when we were talking, I should have cut him loose, but I kept him.
Why you looking at me?
I don't even know what to say to that. I don't, without knowing the background or the story of their marriage, that is a horrible method of communication. Horrible. There is obviously something going on, something wrong. Just don't talk to me. I don't, where would you go from there? It is really like you, part of me wants to say, well, you know, ask what's going on, see if you can. But then at the end, she says she knew a week into when they were talking that she should have let him go, and she didn't. And so I have so many questions that I can't get answers to, and I feel her hurt through the video, but also without knowing both sides of the story, it's kind of hard to really provide any real insight to that, aside from there seemed to be from that small bit a lack of or just horrible communication in general from one or both parties.
It's quite possible. I mean, first of all, just want to say that this is a multi-part type of scenario, so we probably gonna end up breaking this up because it's like 5 or 6 parts to the story. You're right that the lack of insight that you can provide based on what she's saying is kind of alarming to me. And not necessarily alarming that we can't provide insight, but it's kind of alarming that the story is being presented like this because after listening to this particular video, I'm just wondering to myself, what led up to this? Did he just come home one day and was like, hey, don't say one word to me at all? I don't know why a man would do something like this to his significant other. I I don't know. It seems something more along the lines of what a woman would do in this type of scenario, like just come out of nowhere and just be like, "Don't talk to me." I'm not saying that this is something that normally happens with women, but I don't understand why a man would just do something like this unless something was leading up to this fact or this particular situation. Dude put a pillow in between. But okay, so something had to be happened before this for this to just unfold this way. Because my question is, you still went on a trip? Like, when was this trip planned? You went all the way to Mexico. Did you think that the Mexico trip was going to fix whatever was going on? Because something had to be going on prior to this. In my head, I don't know what it was, but this is a bit awkward for me because I can't put my finger on it, but something seems like it's missing out of this story because, like you just said, you only got one side. You only got one side, and I don't know what to really say about that particular situation. But you want to chime in? Because you're looking like you want to say something.
Because you sound a little bit like you have some assumptions going on with the comment. This sounds like something a woman would do with the whole pillow in between and that part. And I have no assumptions here.
That's not based off an assumption, though. That's based off of, I don't know what the heck is going on, and I don't understand why he would be doing something like this. out of nowhere, because that's how the story opens up, as if it just dropped out of the sky.
Yeah, but your comment, I don't understand why he would be doing something like this. This seems like something a woman would do.
It does.
Kind of, it already steers the problem. It's steering that the problem is with her. I don't know. I have not seen this series. I don't know what's going on. That is what y'all saw is what I saw.
I'm not trying to steer the problem to her. What I'm simply steering simply steering at is the fact that the story opens up with, my husband told me this, but why?
It is one-sided. It is one-sided. And I do ask, I agree, I'd have to ask the question why he did that, what led up to this, what is the communication like? There are a lot of unanswered questions.
Because in this situation, there is no communication.
Right.
There's none.
Well, it's communication. It's actions and body language.
No effective communication.
It's definitely some communication.
It's some seemingly harsh communication.
Very.
Which, in this scenario, I have to wonder, because all we can do is wonder, because how the story is set up.
That's all we can do.
Is if he voiced something prior to this, and it just wasn't, heard, or maybe he didn't do a good job voicing it, or maybe she didn't like what he said. I don't know. But listen, I'm going to say this throughout each section of this. Getting on social media and airing this out like this, I don't know if this is the best thing to do, because when you air stuff like this out on social media, my mind automatically goes to a space to say that, okay, I don't know how effective you were in the relationship at communicating, because you get out of the relationship and it immediately, well, I don't know how immediate this was. You get out of the relationship and one of your thoughts is to, well, let's take it to the world and let's just completely trash.
Maybe it's a conversation starter.
With who?
I don't know.
With the world?
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
So no different than what our podcast is. It's a platform to get a conversation started.
Sure.
Again, I don't know what else is going on with this whole situation.
Sure.
So that's just devil's advocate here. Conversation starter. Let's start having a conversation. This is where we could have done this differently. These are the red flags I saw and ignored, that type of situation.
Yeah. And we'll see whether or not it goes down that route in the rest of the parts. But we're going to leave it here right now. Peace.
Night.